Well, as I mentioned for the United report today, it's really more of a landscaping report. We have Maggie Blackwell here today, who, among other things on United, oversees their committee, their landscape committee. And today, Kurt Weeman is here today. And he, of course, is overseeing our landscape department. Right. And so this presentation that is being done today is really, in a sense, even though you're here as United, a community-wide presentation. And this is talking about the months of research, Kurt, that your folks have done on this. And this is all about replacing and finding a safer alternative and better, or at least working as well as for Roundup. And of course, we've heard there's a lot of different controversies about Roundup and whatever that may be. The point is, everyone has decided, let's find something that people can be comfortable with, works at about the same rate and staff time that Roundup does now, right?
Yes, that was our goal, because Roundup is extremely effective. It's been the #1 herbicide in the industry, agricultural and landscape, for decades.
Yes.
And there hasn't been a product that really came on the market that functioned as well, because there was no need for it, because Roundup was also effective and inexpensive.
Right, right. And you know, you go to, even the average person, you go to your garden center or Home Depot or wherever, and you see all the products out there. And I've certainly noticed over the years, because I look at things where, you know, Roundup is $3, $4 for this, and then, you know, Mr. Organic one over here is $15, $16. So what do people usually choose? But what's so good about this, Maggie, is finding another source out there that works, that is going to work as effective. And I know you're going to get into it, but it's interesting who is making this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. It's the same manufacturer.
Yeah.
But they make dozens of different agricultural products. They're
right.
all across the market.
Yeah. So we're going to start the presentation, and unless you want to say something, I'll let Kurt take it away.
I just wanted to say that this was a miracle for us. This was the reason we started doing the testing years ago, and we tested and tested, and finally they did the testing in a really good way and found Oro Boost, which is the important part, and here we go.
All right.
We're on a whole new stream, so
Kurt,
go.
It's all yours.
Okay. We started the test in response to basically the call from the residents. The residents approached the boards, all 3 boards, and requested that we start looking at something other than Roundup due to the effects that have been noticed and the lawsuits going around. So we decided, we tested last summer. Those tests were not dramatically resulting. We didn't get anything positive out of that. We found that the products that we tested the efficacy was not what we needed, and the cost, the labor cost, because it would require multiple applications. I don't know if you've tried it. We talked about your home garden.
Yeah.
Some of the organics require multiple applications. The labels even say that. So we were ideally trying to find a product that could replace Roundup in a single application.
Okay.
So what we did was we decided to test 6 products and use Roundup as a control.
Okay.
Because we know how well Roundup works.
Yeah.
So what we did was, here's some of the products that we used. All of them are commercially available through commercial distributors. Most of them yet are not available in this form to homeowners.
Okay.
This is all commercial quality.
Right.
When we looked at some of the variables, the cost per gallon, how much we need to spray, what rate we need to spray it at, whether it's 1,000 gallons per acre or 100,000 gallons per acre. It varies by product, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Okay. And then, like I said, the number of applications. How many times do we have to spray it for it to become effective?
Which is a big factor.
Because of the cost of labor, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we have village-wide, we have over 900 acres of manicured landscape. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Right.
And if we have to do it twice, that is just, the cost of that are immeasurable.
Yeah.
So we took the six different alternative products. We employed an expert in agronomics just to double check on us, just to keep us, not to keep us honest, but just to make sure that everything was done very methodically. And he was there for all of the mixing, all of the spraying, all of the applications, and all of the final studies and that. So he participated in this completely, along with my staff. We have many qualified applicators on staff. So between our staff and the expert, we were able to come up with a good program to test and to follow up on.
Right, and this is a good thing to do because basically this consultant or this outside source here is helping to make sure that certain protocols are kept and everything's done exactly the same way, and another pair of eyes, basically. And that's because you want to get accurate results.
Correct.
Yeah.
And importantly, too, is he's a licensed state applicator advisor. The state actually licenses people to help both farmers and landscapers use the right products safely.
Great.
And he has those licenses, so that was important to us to make sure that everything we did was safe.
Great. That's a really good, I like that idea.
So we chose a spot over in Third, an isolated spot sort of where no foot traffic could come in.
Okay.
Although the products we were using are safe, we just didn't want it disturbed. We didn't want people walking their dogs in it or stepping in it. So we found an isolated little spot with no access to it, and we laid out these plots. Each plot is 200 square foot. We use the same application rate for each one.
Okay.
We used the same applicator, where the same man actually sprayed each one each time we sprayed. For consistency. And here's a list of the products we used. Some of them are synthetic, some of them are organic. We wanted to get a look at all of the alternatives there are out there. We didn't want to just limit it to one category.
Okay.
As long as they were safe. We looked at two things as far as the safety goes. Safety for the applicators, because our staff are applying this often.
Yes.
And we want to make sure it's safe. Most of the problems with Roundup were the people applicating it, the people putting it down. So we wanted to make sure it was safe for our staff. We also wanted to make sure it was a safe product for the residents and their pets. So there's a lot of products out there, even the organic ones, some of them are more dangerous than Roundup.
Right, right.
You know, some of these, if you're not careful, will cause permanent eye damage if you splash it in your eyes. So we wanted to be really careful about what we actually used. We didn't want to test something that we wouldn't want to use in the community.
Right, and you bring up a very good point that people hear often with these type of products and other things in general, they hear the word organic. Oh, it's got to be better, it's got to be safer. Not always true.
Not always true.
Right, yeah.
So we put a little video together that goes with this, kind of give you an oversight of the before and after of what the test looked like. We used a drone, and I think it came out pretty well.
Okay, so we'll show this video, and if you want to talk over it, you certainly can.
Yes, on the bottom is the before, and on the top is the after. The labels apply to the, as you can see, to the different chemicals that we sprayed. And you can see in the after and the above picture, a lot of those plots are now brown.
Yes, yeah.
Also in this picture, you can see where the plots are being subdivided. What we did was, some of the products required a second application. So we subdivided the plots into 3/4 and 1/4 and reapplied on the 3/4 and left the first quarter alone.
Just to see.
Just to see what the subsequent growth would look like on a single application. And even with the label said a double application, we wanted to see what both looked like.
Right.
So we went through and we did this process we did a 4-week trial. We just picked it up last week. And we looked at how the products reacted over a period of time, a measured period of time. And we came back and looked at them weekly and photographed and tested and all of that each week, and then reapplied on the second week. So it's that would be week 3 in there. So we think it was successful. We used good protocol, and we got good solid results out of it. And we're happy with what we found.
Okay, I have a quick question for you, and that is whenever you, at least the Roundup product you see sold in the stores like at Home Depot and places. I've seen ones, and I don't know if it's different, but it says, won't kill grass, only the weeds. So is that a different Roundup? Do you understand? Am I right about that?
There's two kinds of herbicides. There's selective and there's non-selective.
Okay, all right.
Roundup is a non-selective. In other words, it kills anything.
Okay.
Everything green it touches, it kills.
Okay, all right.
And then the selective ones would pit like your broadleafs in your lawn.
Okay.
You can spray it, it'll kill the dandelions, but not the grass.
Okay, all right, very good. So let's go on to the next slide here, and now we're seeing the results, and this is interesting. And of course, the glyphosate, that is the active ingredient in Roundup, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the one that people have concerns about whether or not it's right or wrong. That's the part that's concerning.
And the thing to note is all of these products require an adjuvant, an additive.
Right.
Glyphosate is mixed in. It's a company secret what they use. They won't share what they use. That actually gets the chemicals down inside the plant cells.
Okay, got it.
And some people think that's part of the danger with glyphosate is their additive. What they're using to get the glyphosate into the product, into the plants, is also helping it maybe perhaps get into the human cells.
Okay.
So that's what they're
it.
thinking. So glyphosate has it built in, because that's an important part, and I want to get to this. As you can see, the first one, I'll go through these quickly because there's a lot, is before. Can we go back one slide, please? No?
Go back to the Roundup slide
Yes.
if you can. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can see Roundup in the second picture, that would be week 2. Very little effect, starting to yellow a little bit, because it takes time to get down into the roots. It doesn't kill right away. It kills from the root up. That's the secret. And you can see in the third one it's starting to yellow a little bit, and by the 4th week it's completely brown.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it goes from the top and migrates down. It actually gets down, gets into the roots, and starts to
kill it from the bottom up.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So next slide. The next one we used was Weed Zap, which is a blend of cinnamon oil and clove oil. And a few other things, and the and the adjuvant. Oh, the adjuvant we use for all of these tests is organic. It's called Oro Boost. It's based on citrus oils and a few other organic products, but it helps get the chemicals down inside the plants also.
Okay.
So Weed Zap, this smells like Christmas when you spray it. As you can see by the second slide, there's not much of a kill. The third slide is where we would have done the second application.
Yes,
You can see it's about half dead. And on the fourth slide, you can see the second application still not a complete kill. And in the back corner there, you can see the first application has almost completely grown back, which is not something we want to use.
Right, right. Now, you know, maybe around Christmas time I'll buy this and just spray it in the air in my front yard, you know, not to kill anything. There you go.
Yeah, it won't kill anything.
Next slide. This is weed rot. This is also organic. It's made from citric acid and coconut oil. It also, as you go across the slides, which are time-based, it also only did a partial kill. And on the last slide, you can see that it's only about half dead, and the stuff from the first application is almost all grown back.
But you could eat the residue.
Margaritaville, there you go. All right.
Scythe was the next one. This one, you can see by the second slide, it did a fairly good job of killing the grass. We were excited to find this, because this is pelargonic acid, which is organic. It is fairly effective as a topical kill, as you can see. But in the third slide, you can see it's starting to grow back. The fourth slide is after the second application, and you can see the first application is almost grown back. And you can also see a week into the second application in that last slide that the second application is starting to grow back. And if you were to go out there now, you would see it's about half back.
Okay, all right.
The next one, Weed Farm, which is acetic acid, which a lot of people may know is vinegar. This is undiluted vinegar. Very strong smell. I think even if this did work, the community wouldn't want it, because it's a very powerful smell and it lingers. But as you can see in the slides, it do not do a very good job of doing a complete kill. It does a topical kill. It kills what it touches, but the roots remain intact. So with the kikuyu grass is not a good idea, because it's just going to grow
Yeah.
Next one is Phenoli, which is the substance we tested earlier in the year and found we need multiple applications. The ticket here was the Oro Boost, was the big help in getting the right dosages, getting the right mixtures in there. The first one, you can see the color's off a little bit from the sun. Second one, you can see it's starting to yellow. The third one, you can see it's almost dead, and by the fourth slide, you can see it's all completely dead. Both the first application and the second application is completely dead in the phenolic. Next slide. The last one we tried was Axe. That's an ammonium nanoate, which is natural, not organic. It's natural. Just a slight variation there. It also did a fairly good job of doing a topical kill. You can tell in the third picture that the grass is mostly dead. But when you get to the fourth picture, you can see that the original growth is growing back from the original spray, and the second spray isn't a whole lot more effective than the first. So that one could be potential down the road, but it needs multiple applications.
Okay.
So the next, what we did after we went through the 4-week test, we took, if you look at the first picture, we took core samples 8 inches deep, leaving the root structure completely intact. We took them back to a lab, gave them perfect growing environments of heat, sun, and moisture to generate expedited growth. Because out here we're springtime weather, it's not perfect. So we brought them back in the lab and gave them the perfect growing conditions of the ones that seemed to perform the best. As you can see in the first one, Roundup is still completely dead. The Sky, which did a fairly good job of doing a complete kill on top, you can see it's growing back healthy. The Finale is still completely dead, and the Weed Farm, the other one that produced fairly well in the field, is also regrowing.
Okay.
So this is the results we were looking for, was something that worked like Roundup with a single application and killed all the way to the roots. Once we got done with this part of the experiment, we dissected those cores to examine the roots under a microscope to make sure that the roots were completely dead and showed no sign of life, and both Finale and Roundup showed no sign of life.
Okay. And of course, do you really want to be using something called Weed Farm? That way, I can imagine that.
Right, so that takes us to the final end of it, is the financial impact. I'll go through this. I don't know how many of you can see this at home. I'll go through. If you can go all the way to the end of the slide really quickly. The raw cost per gallon is what you'll see online when you see analysts work on how much they cost. You can see there's a big price difference based upon Roundup, where Weed Farm is cheaper at negative 18%, and the Finale is 47% more. But as you go through the tables and see the mixture rates, the rates per gallon, the Weed Farm is undiluted.
Right.
So you use that at whole strength. Roundup, you use 1 ounce per gallon. The Finale, you use 4, but all the rest is a much higher percentage.
Can I ask a question? And
yes.
Oral Boost, now you mentioned is that something you must add to other things, or is Oral Boost going to be a product that it's going to eventually be something that an off-the-shelf product, people just grab it and buy it, and that's a brand name?
I foresee in the future that happening.
Right.
As this market changes, as more and more people go away from the glyphosate, new products will emerge, I'm sure. Okay. And as we know that all of these products need that extra additive. So it's just going to be a marketing thing when the two companies decide to merge and use the two products, because Oral Boost is made by a different company than all these other products.
Okay, now Roundup, it's all self-contained.
Correct.
It has everything it needs. Oral Boost, and I think you said is made by Bayer. Is that, am I right about?
No, Finale is made by Bayer.
Finale is made by Bayer, okay. Which of course, they make Roundup as well.
Right.
Finale, Bayer owns Monsanto. So this is showing some of your conclusions here.
Right, so when you get down to the final end, the cost of a mix Roundup, a mixed gallon of herbicide, now you can see where, compared to the gallon cost, the mixed cost is significantly different because of the ratios. So you need to take all these things into account, and the Finale went from being 47% more to 588% more when you get to the mix rates.
Wow.
But all of them are significant more. The Weed Farm, which was at a raw rate cheaper, is 10,000% more.
Wow. Right. And when you talk about mix rate, I want to ask you, does that mean you folks here, your staff, will be mixing up the right formula, or you can order it pre-mixed and ready to go?
No, at this point you have to mix it yourself.
Okay, which adds staff time.
A fair amount. It doesn't take long.
Okay.
It's like a recipe. It's a ½ ounce of Oral Boost to 4 ounces of the other product.
Okay.
So, but even though 588% is a lot, it's a large percentage. If you go to the next slide, you can see that this is just the material cost. We have no increase in labor in this at all. So for United, that 588% only works out to be a total difference in our budget of $14,000.
Right. Right. Okay. And you bring up a good point here when people hear percentages. Well, that percentage has to relate to something.
Correct.
And 588%, well, if it's 588% of something that, maybe 25 cents or something, it's really not that much when the final cost is added. So that's remarkable that it's only about $15,000 for United, 24 for Third, and $3,000 for GRF. I mean, that's far less than I know, Maggie, when we talked several months ago, when you were, you folks were looking at maybe $1 to 200,000 more.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is only like $5.20 a year.
Yeah.
So that's
incredible.
really incredible.
So finally, Kurt, as far as the conclusions go here, when do you think that you'll be switching over to this community ride, and the applications with this mix that you've come up with, would it be the same as Roundup, where I don't know what you use for Roundup? Is it once a year in a certain spot or twice a year? Do you see the rate the same?
Yes.
Okay.
The beauty of this is we can get to continue doing things the way we have been doing.
Right.
And in addition to that, we're going to start looking at different ways to even use less of this.
Okay.
On this last slide here, we're going to be looking at using plant growth inhibitors. A lot of what we do with the Roundup is the edges of the grass to the garden beds.
Right.
Because that's where the grass likes to creep in.
Yeah.
Plant growth inhibitors, while they're expensive, slow down the growth of the grass significantly.
Okay.
Where the grass stays green, it doesn't kill it, but it slows it down significantly so that it doesn't creep back into the garden beds. So we wouldn't have to spray the herbicide as often.
Right, right.
So that's our goal, is to try to use a combination of products and methodologies to cut down on our actual labor costs.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. All right. So this has been a long time in coming, but very productive, and it was necessary. And all the work that your staff did, the outside resource that you use, and everyone together produced really a great and cost-effective approach.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Right.
So when can I have it from my garden? You can make your own mix, and there you go. All right.
I'm sure there'll be products on the market
Oh,
soon.
I'm sure, because
Yes.
I think in general people are want this stuff, and believe me, these companies like Bayer, whoever, Monsanto, whatever, they're not going to want to lose business, so they're going to find alternatives that people want to use. So it'll be there soon. Great. Anything else you'd like to add, Maggie?
No, this is just wonderful. This is the kind of news that you almost never get in landscape.
All right.
And this is terrific.
Very good. Thank you, Kurt, very much for coming on today.
Pleasure.
Appreciate the presentation. And is this online if somebody wants to see this? Have you guys posted this report yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to be, I presented it to the United Landscape Committee. I will be presenting it to the 3rd Landscape Committee next month.
Okay.
And then the GRF Committee later on next month.
And
All
there
right.
was a very good article in the Globe
Yes,
this
there was.
week about this.
All right. Thank you both. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back.